guy.
Evan Almighty, Steve Carell.
Oh,
I love that one.
So good. Bitcoin topping metrics. How are you looking at this data?
Yeah, so these are some on-chain metrics. In the Bitcoin community, there's like 100 of these. There's so many to go through. A lot of them are kind of nonsense. A lot of them are really good. There's probably a dozen I like to check. These are two of my favorite I've seen recently that I think tell something interesting. Because I'm getting the question pretty frequently now is the bull market over? Did we just do this cycle much quicker? At this point, Bitcoin's back to all-time highs. Nothing else. Well, yeah, 99% of other tokens are not anywhere near all-time highs. Maybe that's it. So where are we in the cycle? It's hard to tell, even for me. You have to just look at a lot of different stuff, and they all tell a different story. So these are just two charts that, to me, tell me we're still pretty early in the cycle. I still think you need some support from, like, just general risk assets to be risk on to support like a good crypto market, the stock market and all, and economy. So the first one I look at is Bitcoin MRV Z-score, which takes the Bitcoin realized market cap, which is, it takes the price at which Bitcoin coins actually transferred at, it's hard to describe, and essentially multiply times like the volume at that point. I guess a way of looking at it is it's like your cost basis, sort of. So what people actually bought coins at, so if Bitcoin's at 68,000 now, not everyone's buying at 68,000, right?
Right.
Like everyone has a different cost basis. So realized cap factors in what people actually paid for the coins and calculates the market cap based on that cost basis. So you take that and subtract it from where the current market cap is, which only factors in the current price today of Bitcoin. So the wider that discrepancy is, the wider that difference is, the more kind of, hyped up the market is at that moment. And this translates it into a z-score, a standard deviation, just to know how far it is from its, normal distribution. How far it out is it on the tail.
And it looks like we're half historically.
Yeah, so we're still early on. It obviously inflected, in 2023, started going up, and really at the tail end of 2022. And we're nowhere near like peak of the market.
Yeah, we'll have you back on sometime. Hopefully it's, up here, and
we'll all be happy.
Yeah, we'll all be very happy. And hopefully at that point you can kind of, ring the alarm bell maybe.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully it just keeps going, right?
Well,
like the mega cycle.
Never does. Bitcoiners have been talking that forever. Like, this is the cycle where it's just up only, and that's never held.
Yeah, right.
Up only doesn't exist. And when it's time to ring the fire alarm, I'll be there.
Yeah. And you'll be listening to this, so you'll know.
Yeah.
We're not there. I think we're going higher. I would be surprised if Bitcoin doesn't see 101K. I'd be surprised if Solana doesn't see 200. I'd be surprised if Ethereum doesn't see 6,000 to 8,000. And it's crazy when you put those targets out for yourself out into, to other guys that are in crypto, and they look at you and they think you're too bearish. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so that's who you're competing against as well. I don't think those are bearish targets.
Yeah, I mean, today we had a pretty good flush, right? Yeah. March 5th. Mike, you're getting a lot of messages, people freaking out that it's the end, right?
Yeah, I got a message saying we have an FTX flush. I won't call out who did that. But it's just absolutely not the case.
Yeah.
It's $1 billion in liquidations, which usually marks a good spot to buy.
You have to have a pullback like this to get to higher levels. It's part of the process.
Even if we get a slight bounce and we keep pulling back, it doesn't matter. You do have to look out a little further than the next 1 minute. if you're trading this stuff.
Yeah, it's a little dramatic. Like March 3rd, we were at this price level.
Correct.
So it's like
I just think that you're not to insult anyone, but you are dealing with a bunch of guys with like goldfish memories that are trading. It is kind of wild to see, but yeah, if you look even a few days back, price hasn't really done anything. It hit the all-time high. You got liquidations, kind of as expected. Now, if it takes time to consolidate, make a bit of a cup and handle pattern, which we had in NYB and Omega, something like that would not surprise me, and that's a pattern I've seen many, many, many times.
I love this chart, by the way. Can you dig into this one?
Yeah, Bitcoin percentage of supply held by long and short-term holders. So this is pretty key to identifying when the market's going to turn. You want to see long-term holders getting out. These are the smart guys, in my opinion. These are the guys that were getting in at the bottom and had the guts to just like allocate when things were ugly and hold, and they know how to play the cycle. And that's the minority of participants in the market. And the short-term holders are the more recent people coming in. So yeah, you can see the yellowish orange line or the short-term holders. The red line is the long-term holders. So in past, turns of the market where things went south, you can see the red line starts dipping, and you have long-term holders exiting the market. They're slowly starting to sell into it, sell harder. And that's kind of what causes, in some ways, the turn of the market.
And almost to these points where these two lines are intersecting.
Yeah, exactly. And you could see where we are now at the end of the chart, 2024, is you actually are getting some long-term holders selling, but it's not aggressive. A little bit of profit taking. I would want to see this thing dip down hard for me to start getting pretty cautious.
Yeah, and to me, this chart just proves the moderate part of the cycle. So people saying, hey, we're really early stages, that's totally incorrect. We're not. You can literally see from here that we're likely going to enter the moderate stage where they come in, they are going to make profit. And that's what helps them build their confidence into the late cycle, and that's where they get hurt.
And last week, last episode, we showed the Google search results around just like Bitcoin in general, and it was nowhere near any hysterical level at all.
Yeah.
To the contrary, it was almost like pinned at the floor still. People have done analysis, how to buy Bitcoin. Yes, it's starting to tick up, but this line spiking up really shows that a lot of short-term minded money is coming into the market, later stage.
Yeah, the hot money,
maybe potentially a fair amount of retail money is starting to get out on TikTok and other social platforms and get a little bit of froth.
What's interesting is I find I'm not getting a ton of messages about Bitcoin, like almost none. And you're hitting all-time highs. I'm like, that's interesting to me because that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So are we going to continue higher? How many people sold before we got to this level? How many people will be scared on every dip to get in? And does that cause a lockout rally once again? Like, it just seems to just keep doing the same thing. And until people finally step in, that's when I feel like the big liquidation will come. But is that a year from now? Is that 6 months, 3 months? Who knows? But a lockout rally seems like it just keeps keeping people out. You have guys that sold at 45K, 42, 43, 44, 45, and they're sitting back going, like, how do I get back in? And until those guys start buying, where are they going to buy? 70, 80? Like, how do they get back in? Right now? Because they might be too scared to buy, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I know a lot of people that are looking to get back in the market, sold too early. A lot of people that sold in like Bitcoin at 45 range.
Yeah.
Where you